Hello again. I've been listening to a lot of stuff. I saw a thing on there where a celebrity is saying, well, if Trump gets elected, they're going to leave the United States. Well, there's a whole bunch of them people saying that. That's fine. Because you know what? They don't like the Constitution of the United States. They don't believe in it. They don't defend it. They don't uphold it. So they aren't actually citizens of the United States, any of them. Because if you get around and look, I know the Constitution for Arizona, the Constitution for Utah, Constitution for Nevada, Constitution for South Dakota, etc., 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 all have basically the same rights, same things, all just put in there. Okay? Now, that one nation deal that they've established back there in Washington, D.C., with the National Socialist Party, with its two factions, the Blue Party and the Red Party, that is unconstitutional. Them people haven't obeyed the Constitution for years. At least not since old Wilson was president back in the early 1900s. Because a lot of that stuff, that amendment about not being able to have booze in the United States, it was passed and put onto that Constitution as a ratified amendment. Well, that was unconstitutional before it was given to the states to ask them if they'd ratify it. It was unconstitutional because it came from Congress. And coming from Congress, it should have been visualized, it should have been checked by the Supreme Court of the United States if it passed muster as a constitutional idea. Okay, now there's some more. How about that one that, let's see, I think it's Amendment 16. It came out at the same period of time about the IRS. That wasn't constitutional. It was put out by the Congress, the Red Party and the Blue Party. Not. That SCOTUS should have checked that one. Amendment 17, taking away the 2 senators from each state being elected by the people instead of appointed by the Congress of the state, so they would be beholding and loyal to the state instead of beholding and loyal to the party, blue or red, that paid all the money for their campaign and to get them in office. You see, there's a lot of things people just don't realize, that we have been hornswoggled, lied to, and there's been all kinds. You don't want to believe in conspiracy theories? That's fine. It really ain't a conspiracy theory if you got a long con going. And there's been a long con going since they formed them two parties, the Federalist Party and the Jeffersonian Democrats, when John Adams was president of the United States. It's been a long con. The socialists have been in there. You go back and you check who supported Wilson. You check their ideas and that. There's nothing in the Constitution about the federal government or any state government being a charitable organization. No, baby, that's the people's money. Reason for the government in the first place. Let's go back there and look what them people in that writing that Declaration of Independence from Great Britain. They got in there. Remember that Declaration of Independence? Well, you get down in there, and after that first part of that paragraph where it says we hold these truths to be self-evident about rights and everything. Keep there that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, you got to have a consensus on the biggest share of things that might step out from being just necessary for peaceful cohabitation of different types of cultures and peoples. Okay, let's continue here. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Okay, now, you might say, well, you ain't gonna revolt. No, it's not a revolt. You see, there has been a criminal degradation of the rule of law over the last 200 years plus. 1830, well, that's when that thing about the Indian Removal Act was passed. So if you figure 1830, you come on up through, this is 2023. That would be 193 years. Okay? Now, over that period of time, you look at all this stuff. Now, I heard Trump say one time that people that went and fought in the First World War over there in Europe, fought in that First World War, were foolish for going and fighting and getting themselves killed for it. Well, why were we in that war over there in World War I? That was Wilson's war. He was running this big con to get the United States to be this big-uppity-do, being a socialist country, because his supporters and everything, you check him, read, study, learn. Wilson was a socialist. He was not faithful to the idea of all men being equal and the freedom of free trade. Okay? And then he comes up with this thing. He wanted to start that one world government with that League of Nations. Well, I got that in, and it got pushed aside, and then they come up with this United Nations. Now, United Nations trying to tell us Americans, us patriotic U.S. citizens of the United States, what we can and can't do. Now, all of their minions, these socialists, these communists, these fascists and everything that have their own ideas, that have criminalized our way of law and government, are going along with all that one world government. That's not right. You know them people in Los Angeles, the Bloods and the Crips, them gangs that have been back there for a long time? You know them families in New York, the Gaudis and everything like that? They had an area in their city. Now, as long as the people in that area went along with what they wanted, the Bloods, the Crips, whoever, you got others that step out of their area and start forcing it on others. No, then they get put back in their area or they get done away with. But as long as they mind their own business, and the people agree with it in their area mostly, see, this is liberty. This is not a tyrant's place to be. So, and that Trump, he knows not to be a tyrant, I think. That Biden and that Obama and that Clinton and some of the rest of those socialists I'm not sure about them. There's a lot of stuff that's illegal, unconstitutional, that's being forced onto people. All this green stuff and everything. Hey, we kill ourselves off. Everything man has done, since I know of, has been designed to kill himself off. Inventing an atom bomb was designed to kill us all off. Coming up with combustion engine, internal combustion engine, was designed to kill us all off. These guys have forced all the farming and everything out into the third world nations and that. Oh, it's polluting, and and they're using our water to grow potatoes and vegetables. We've got to have it to flush our toilets and to build these chips in these big factories that use all kinds of water. Think about it. Okay, I know I got a little radical here, but I don't care what people do, as long as they don't try to tell me I can't do something that I want to that's none of their business. And I don't want to bother other people unless they ask me for help. Got it? Well, y'all have a good day, and may God bless you all.